SundayGoLessons.com. My name is Jonathan Hopp, and today we're going to work on the opening. Okay, we're going to talk about direction of play and pincers. All right, pincers can be very difficult for some people, especially with the opening. We learn lots of pincer standard sequences, but we don't really necessarily know the difference between high pincers, low pincers, how we should handle inside stones. Should we run out? Should we take the corner? That's what makes Go fun, though. We have lots of different choices we can make, right? So we have to just understand why we make certain choices, why certain choices are not good, why certain choices are better. All right, when we develop a sense for that, we can really start to improve as players. This lecture is probably good for people around between 8 and 12 Q. If you're on the lower end of the Q scale, you can certainly watch this lecture and you can really gain something from it. But always remember that play is the best teacher. All right, so we've got this board. All right, we have the standard sequence in the left side. It's very well known. If you don't know about it, there is a lecture on that. This one is where white takes the corner and black takes the side. So let's look at these white stones. All right, white has a low stone here. So if we're looking at the board, which is white's turn, we're trying to figure out where are the key points for development. Well, it's not the bottom of the board, I'll tell you that much. If we just add another low stone, well, we're not adding too much to our point total. Okay, we're not adding too much because we're only adding these little intersections. That's not very many points. If we play a high move, well, we're not going to really build a big box that expands into the center because everything's already flat. So if that's true, then this side, this bottom side, is not very interesting for white, nor is it interesting for black. It's not interesting for either side, so we're just going to totally ignore it right now in the opening. It's perfectly fine to look at an area and say that there's too many stones there for really good development and to play elsewhere. That's really the point. It's how we make efficient moves. So in this case, white approaches. White can do a lot of other different things. White can play like this. White can play like this. Right? It's the opening of the game, but let's just say white plays like this, which is a perfectly fine move. No problem with it. I have no quarrel at all. So now what black is thinking is he's got this backup stone here. He's got this star point stone on the upper right-hand side of the board. He's got to make use of that. Right? We want to, when we put new stones on the board, the new stones should work with stones that already exist on the board so they form a cohesive unit. So for example, black could pincer. All right, we have a two-space high pincer. It's called two spaces because the distance between this stone and this stone is two spaces, and it's on the fourth line. Okay, so if you're new to pincers, you'll know how to classify them. Are they low or high, and how many spaces away from the stone they're pincering are they? So stones that are closer are more severe than stones that are further away. This is high because we want to try to get this stone and this stone to work together, so we have two high stones. So that means that black strategy has something to do with taking these stones and forming some influence in the center, possibly even expanding towards the top to create a box-like territorial framework. Okay, good. But it's white's turn. White has to figure out, what am I going to do with this stone right here? All right, it's outnumbered 2 to 1. I've got the bottom part open because it chose a high pincer. High pincers threaten to take the outside, but they leave room underneath them for our opponent to use for their own devices, for instance, making 2 eyes. So white is feeling, okay, so black's pincered me. I don't want to get sealed in. Black plays something like this. It's going to be really hard for me to make this stone really do anything. We might even get sealed in. And getting sealed in and go is terrible, all right? We never want to get sealed in because that reduces the effectiveness of our stones. So what we're going to do is we're going to answer this. Okay, I also don't want black to play something like this and then attack my stone with this other stone here pincering me, trying to make me heavy. I don't want that. So I've got to do something with this stone. Am I going to run out with it, or am I going to sacrifice it? All right, think about that for a second. Pause the video. What should white do with this stone? All right, what if we sacrificed it? What if I jump into the corner? Corner's points, right? Everyone loves points. This is go. The person with more points at the end of the game wins. The problem with this move is that black is the way black will react. Black should not block this way, okay? If I see your games, if I see you playing, and I see a similar position, and you block like this as black without any black stones on this side, I'm going to scream or something. Because this is not the correct direction. And I see this is a very common mistake in key level games. You should not do this. The reason being is that when white comes up, and black comes up, and again, don't do anything fancy, just connect. Nothing outrageous here. Black comes forward, and now black has this really great wall, this 4-stone wall with this stone jumping ahead of it. but it's facing the area of the board which I just said wasn't all that interesting for development. All white has to do is play a move like this, or this, and this black group, these stones, aren't doing anything. The thickness, what do we use thickness for? We use thickness to attack, right? Are we going to attack anything? No. Well, we can use thickness to create a very large territorial framework. Are we going to do that? No. What are we doing with these stone chain? Nothing. Is it efficient? No. So we basically almost wasted these moves, while white took all the nice territory. So black is not going to block this way, ever. Don't even think about it. Again, if I see you at a Go tournament and you block that way, I will, I don't know, point you out to everybody in the room or something like that. To embarrass you. So when white invades, black will block like this. You must split the two white stones apart. Okay, now don't even think about it. Just you don't see a black stone on the side of the board, split the white stones apart and move on with your life. Alright, so white will play here, and this is pretty basic standard distinguishing white-black extends here. If you don't know it, there are lectures on it. White comes under, black blocks, white plays here, black blocks, and white extends. Okay, great. Now, black could jump ahead. Now let's look at the board. Black's box-like framework is starting to get pretty big. He's got high stones that are doing the job of looking forward into the center. And what's white doing? White has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stones on the third line on one side of the board. That's flat. Okay, that's not doing white a whole heck of a lot of good. Because these stones are not going to expand and become greater than they are at any point later in the game. They're just kind of stuck. I mean, really try to appreciate that white is flat and low and disinteresting. If you're having a hard time with that, my usual advice, and I've said this before in other lectures, so you may have heard it, is to get a real board, put this position on it, put it somewhere where you'll see it often during the day, and look at it and really feel, not just think, but feel that white's development is non-existent and boring, all right? Like, it's like being in a job for 25 years, the same exact low-paying, no health insurance job, where there's no chance of promotion and you have to work it 10 or 20 more years to even get the hope of a pension, okay? So, like, really feel the hopelessness of that situation. That's how hopeless white feels. White is in a dead-end job, okay? And black is going to be on the 25th floor making partner and drinking martinis on the yacht on the weekends. So that's really the difference between black and white here. Okay, so we know white's not going to throw this stone away. That doesn't make any sense because the result is too awful for him. So that basically leaves us with jumping out. We have to jump out. If we're not going to sacrifice, we have to move with these stones. All right? Now, black has to think to himself, which of these two stones is weaker? The stone that is weaker is the stone that is in greater danger of being sealed in. Okay? Being sealed in means that you don't have escape routes towards the center or towards open areas. This stone has two directions, this way and this way, as far as going out into open areas. This is an open area and this is an open area. So we can go here or we can go here. This stone only has one direction to go to an open area. So therefore, this is the weaker stone. This is the stone that's in greater danger of being cut off or surrounded. Okay? So we're going to play from this stone. Case in point, if you try to defend this stone, I know that some double-digit Q players will do this because they think that they're going to create territory along this side of the board and they're going to try to protect this stone. The trade-off is that on the other side, you left the weaker stone for the stronger stone. Now white's going to play here, and now this bottom area of the board is going to be very difficult for black to do anything about it. Now it actually might start to become territory. Okay, and this stone's going to have to scramble to live. So instead, if we compare that to the correct answer, which would be this, will be the slide, will be to make territory, we can now say that these stones are secure. It's better to play the low move than the high move. The high move is essentially saying you're going to create a box-like territorial framework on the bottom side of the board. That's not happening. Why? Because there is this stone right here. At some point, white might play this and threaten to come under your two high stones, and you're not going to make much of anything, all right? So it's much better just to play defensively. Take that territory. The bottom is not a big thing anyway. It's not a major point of development, so just play defensively for right now. Now white's got these two stones. It's thinking, well, okay, I jumped out, black jumped out. Okay, everyone knows why that happened. So what am I going to do next? Well, I'm going to attack this stone. Really. this is a very aggressive move that we see in handicap games. All right, so where white is trying to bully black, but in a normal game, we rarely ever see this unless there's a white stone here. If there's a white stone here, then it might make sense to attack the stone, to tell this stone, okay, if you want life, you have to extend this direction. All right, that's what this move is saying. This move is saying that the center is off limits to this black stone. If this black stone wants to make life, it must extend along this area. This move, like I said, this move is basically used to scare weaker players in handicap games. If black just defends, I mean, he's got this backup stone right here, so it's not like he's really in a lot of danger. So black will just jump, and later, black can start to mess with white's shape. If black peeps here first, then comes out, it looks like this stone and this stone are cut off from one another. Now you've got this heavy group and a stone that was used to be attacking, but now is the one being attacked. That's pretty actually awful. So there's no reason white should play like this. This is too aggressive. Right? We need to stabilize this group. Okay, we can stabilize this group by taking territory. Remember, we have two high stones. We can slide under them and grab the points underneath them. That's their weakness. So white will play like this. Now, black is thinking to himself, well, the normal moves for me to play like this. Right? This is basically similar to a standard sequence we've seen time and time again. But what if I want to do this? What if I want to play on this side and defend the stone? Okay, well, white's going to take the corner from you. All the sufficient points. And what black is going to have to do is black is going to have to extend. If black does not extend to defend these stones, what ends up happening is white will come and pincer him. And now the fate of these two stones is in real peril. Okay, we don't know what's going to happen to it. So we can't really allow white to get the sente move. So what black would normally do is black will play the 3-3 point. And now white has an excellent move of playing under the black stone here. Okay? So now white has stabilized his group. Black pincered. Black tried to have these two stones work together. And white was able to say, okay, you're going to attack me. I'm going to stabilize. Now you've got a little group here, a stone here, and I've got my group situated over here. All right? This is one way in which you handle a pincer. All right? So we learned about how white was able to handle its pincer correctly. Now, again, what goes on in the upper right and the other parts of the board really do factor into how we respond to our opponent. We're about to look over that next. All right, so I've changed the board position some, and it's a lot different than it was before, at least as far as which parts of the board are really interesting for development. White has just approached here. All right, what we see up here is basically a standard sequence where white gets a nice corner, but black gets a very nice thickness on the outside. And so in the game, black played this two-space pincer. Right. In this case, this pincer is performing actually two purposes. The first purpose is to help these three stones build a base, okay, build an area of the board that they can have control over to stabilize them. We don't want these three stones to get caught up with, like, if white were to play something like this, or this, or this, where they don't have a base. Because if they don't have a base, they have to run out. And if white is attacking these three stones, that means this area is rapidly not becoming black's area. So we don't want to lose control of stones. All right. One of the big ideas I want to get across, we don't want to lose control of our stones. So pincers can help us with that. Help us out with that. Okay. A pincer can help build some empty spaces for our stones and attack another stone at the same time. Double purpose moves are our friends. All right. So white's got to think about how he's going to respond to this. All right. So probably in this case, it may not be necessarily a good idea to come into the corner. Now, in this case, I will definitely want you to block like this. Okay, blocking like this is wonderful. Why? Because we have a stone on this side. We actually have a territorial framework. So if we do that, we block like this. Okay, we're really building something now. We're really actually building something. These stones and these two stones really work together to create a nice area of the board for us. So in this case, blocking like that's great. So white's not necessarily all too enthused about coming in the corner again. We go back. So the corner is not exactly in white's best interest. So white thinks to himself, okay, I'm going to jump out. Black jumps out again. Now we play high this time because, again, we're making territorial framework. We have on high stones. We have a high stone here. We're not afraid of white coming in here because actually this stone is an invading stone, not an attacking stone. So black plays high here. White plays here to try to make some territory. Now let's think about this. All right, what should black's response be to this move? All right, remember, go is about changing situations. The top here is a lot stronger than it was than in the last example. The last example, we just had a black stone here, and that was pretty much it. This, we have a lot more of an investment, of stone and influence in this area. So that's going to really affect how we deal with this side of the board. Pause the video and really give it some thought. All right, so let me show you what you shouldn't do. All right, what black should not do is play softly. What do I mean by that? The soft move would be to allow white to settle very easily. If black plays here, white will find it easy to settle here. Okay. So white finds it easy to settle, and in this case, what are we doing with these stones up here? Not much. In fact, because this one's high, we still have this area that could be influenced by white. We don't want something like this. We don't want to get our stones split up. All right. So letting white comfortably settle in this area was not really a good idea. So what can we do? What we can do is we can try to attack white from this side. White's got a shape weakness. He's got this one space jump, so let's use that to our advantage. We're going to peep first, and then we're going to use this combination. We're going to attack him here. This is the vital point of the shape, okay? We don't want to do this outright first, because if we play this outright, white will jump ahead of us like this. Now we've got to fight with this black stone. If black crawls, white crawls with him and breaks up this stone. So that's not a good idea. You want to first play the forcing move, and then play here. White can't cut, right? So white's area where he can make eye space is severely limited. And also, look what's going on this side. We've actually boxed off a really nice area for ourselves. We've stabilized this group. It's completely stable now. And white has to continue to live. So what's white going to do? White could try this, but black would be more than happy to simply block like this, right? White could try to play like this, in which case black will block, white will pull back, and then black has this really great move where we keep attacking white's area. Okay, we're going to come here, and we're going to try to threaten to cut white, okay? So white plays here to block. Now black cannot cut here. Black cuts here, white's going to Atari, and black's going to be caught in the Shores of Liberties. That's not a very good idea. So there's no cut here. But black has all sorts of great moves. Black can play like this to try to attack the lower area. This is Sente. Alright, so black's got a lot of good moves. But more importantly, we pincered, and then we took the important side and stabilized it. We attacked white from the correct direction and stabilized it. Alright, so that's one of the things we have to think about when we pincer with our stone. So now white's got this string. He's got corner territory, but now black has stabilized this side, and it looks like this side is going to be good for development. All right. Well, I hope you learned a lot from this lecture. Pincers can be very difficult, but we basically have to look at some real life examples and see the difference, how pincers actually work out. Do we jump in the corner? What does that look like? Do we jump out? What does that look like? Do we stabilize our group? Which side do we attack from? Do we have other options? How does the rest of the board affect how I'm going to play after I pincer? These are the sorts of things you have to start thinking about if you want to get to be a single-digit Q, or if you want to really rise faster up through the ranks. Well, I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I'll see you next time.